Hi, my name is Alan Rescue, and I'd like to talk a little bit on the fundamentals of brooding ostrich chicks. Ostrich is one of those very wonderful animals that are not a lot in their numbers in our part of the world. Talking about Ghana to be precise, you don't see very huge ostrich farms. Um, Lately, a company by name Vita 4 Ghana Limited it's helping bring in some of these ostrich chicks to Ghana, of which we got some, and they've been delivering consistently on each other. They communicate quite well, so that helps to allay fears of your deliveries being done. That notwithstanding, a lot of people say it's problematic brooding ostriches because of the tendency that there could be mortalities and they will lose them. Mind you, they are not cheap. A day-old ostrich could cost you anything between 800 Ghana cedis to about 910 cedis, depending on what you want. If you want them sexed, if you want them given certain vaccines or drugs prior to their arrival, will attract a cost. And the cost of import duty and things like wildlife fees, among the rest, add up to make up the price a little bit upward. And this deters people from having an attempt at brooding them. Some may prefer it being about 2-3 weeks old, where they believe they are strong enough to or be cared for. But it's pretty easy learning how to care for baby ostriches. Something I did and I loved, and I'll be doing it again starting tonight, the 27th of March. We are going to have 40 day-old ostriches coming down via Brazos Airline through Vita for Ghana. Now, the thing about ostriches is when they are young, there are some things you should note about them. They may look rugged, but they are fragile. The challenge with them in the first 3 weeks of their life has to do with their legs. Develop quickly, thereby putting a lot of weight on their feet. So if you don't concentrate on diet that builds stronger bones rather than weight, you stand the chance of getting your chicks being paralyzed, and then you may have to solve some of this problem with strapping the 2 legs together so they may be able to move, so they don't have these paddle legs. And there are a few things to do when they arrive. Definitely, birds in transit will experience some form of stress, whether we like it or not. So on arrival, it's important to give them kind of anti-stress with vitamins that will help them deal with the stress on arrival. Prior to the arrival, you should have your brooder ready and heat it up to a temperature that is relatively okay. I say this because the science of brooding chicks, be it chicken, turkeys, or ostriches, is to prevent them from feeling cold and huddling together, but it's not to give them enough heat to cook them. It's just to prevent them from feeling cold, but not to cook them. So the temperature has to be relative, in that it's comfortable for them to freely move around, not huddle together or shy away from the heat source. They are moving away from the heat source tells you the place is too hot, so they are seeking some form of balance. If they huddle together, the heat is too low. So it's relative to do. So as the chicks arrive, also chicks are pretty stupid. They will peck at anything at all, be it your watch you left on the floor, the spoon, your car key, syringes, anything at all, they will peck at it. They will try to swallow it. So long as it's fitted to their mouth, they try to swallow it. And if care is not taken, you could lose them. So one challenge is that when they are hatched, they are not placed on any sort of bedding like a litter for sawdust or wood shavings or rice hulls, so they don't identify this as a bedding. So when they arrive at your brooder area and you put them on this, there's the high tendency that they will ingest this sawdust, and they are not able to digest it. They may die. It's simple as that. So keep a clean floor. So what I do is to wash the floor about a week to the arrival, disinfect about 3 times, and disinfect the last day prior to the arrival, and ensure nobody goes in there. I dedicate a particular sandal that enters the place, and I arrange my heating pot. I use clay pot and I put them on top of earthenware bowl. Why I do this is simply because if I'm using my clay pot with charcoal in the night where I'm asleep after monitoring them for a couple of times, if I fall asleep and the charcoal gets finished somehow, the heat gets retained in the clay pot, and it takes time for it to completely cool down, a time frame within which the fire can be rekindled and they are still safe. So we should take note of that as well. Now the ostrich chicks on arrival will identify with greens naturally. So if you have a water leaf, what we locally call boko boko, you should get a good amount, and then put them on a chopping board and then chop them into small pieces. The ostriches may easily identify with this and will like to peck at these items. And you could quickly mix this also with galdus, which is a pelletized feed from kujis, on the second day, and then but feed them more of the greens, and then alternate the mixing with galdus for about 5 days. I give them my anti-stress for vitamin for the first 4 days of their life, and I introduce the VitaGuard, which is an antibiotic replacer, kind of like an organic antibiotic, also from Vita4 as well. It goes on and on like that. I ensure I take critical look at how they walk, because their legs is very important to me. So I do this every 4 hours. Critical look. If I see any issue with the leg, I put 2 ropes and tie the 2 legs together so they could be able to stand straight without them having the legs opened and have any sort of damages to the legs. I feed them. I withdraw the feed when I notice they are putting on so much weight quickly. So I start doing a time feeding when I notice there's so much weight on their leg. I feed them every 3 other hours, so they digest fully before the next feed is given to them. So they don't eat continuously like broilers. So their metabolism, though great, it has to be managed at this early stage in their lives. There's something you need to do about the floor where they are. If it is cemented, they normally poop and urinate at the same time. So the urine is kind of like slippery. So if they try to walk in it, they fall and all that. So every morning I have like 2 sessions where I drive them slowly to the other side, wash this side, and then use a heat blower, blow on the floor, dry it up, and then get them back. And I know it is tedious, but for the first 3 weeks you need to do this until they develop well enough. This is how I take care of my day olds until they're about 3 weeks, and when they're about the 4th week, I start introducing small pellets to aid them in digestion. Little tiny stones mixed with sand. They will learn to pick what they can pick, but they just need to be tiny gravels, very little pebbles. And then about the 5th week, I introduce them outside under street supervision. I introduce them outside under very close supervision, and then guide them what not to pick, what to pick. They exercise and walk around, and you will be impressed at the rate at which these animals grow. When they're about 6 weeks, they start going out. The 7th week, by the time they're about 2 months, they are good on their own. You only have to monitor them pretty well clear your environment, pick plastics, pick metallic object, sharp object, things that could help them clear all of them from the ranch where they will be running, having fun in the mornings. Like I said, they are very beautiful animals. They just need a Newcastle vaccination when they are 6 weeks old, and that should be good enough. And they do eat a lot of greens, so if you should start thinking about how to befriend people who sell veggies, so particularly lettuce, cabbage, and pieces of carrots and all that, they prefer that to actual feed. They could eventually eat anything. One or two things that should never be passed on to ostriches are onions and avocado. They are actually poisonous to their systems. They will not do them any good. So it's pretty easy to take care of them if you have the needed attention that you give them. They pay off pretty well. So it's a good, fascinating, very exciting journey. Brooding your ostriches till they're about 2 months, where they run around the place and perform their early morning dances that you might have probably seen in my videos. Thank you for watching this video. If it helps you, kindly subscribe and share. Thank you.